Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. This video is me sharing with you all that we did yesterday in our home. With everything going on in our country and our world, the unknown can seem too big sometimes. So this is how we spent our day. We were together. We did a lot of spring cleaning and organizing, especially outside. We decided staying home seemed the best course of action, so we worked in the yard, out in the sunshine, getting the mowing done, spraying the flower beds for weeds. We uncovered the pool. The wind had done a lot of that for us already, so we just finished it up. We even got to clean out the garage that can actually hold a car now. We have a stocked freezer and pantry, which really is no different than any other time for us. But we know now we are prepared for meals at home for a while, and we all pitched in and felt no worry during this day. We stayed away from our phones, TVs, all of it. We just focused on what we could do. That evening, my mom, daughters, and I went to work in the kitchen, helping one another put together a meal for that night and one for the freezer. We made mock lasagna, and I will show you how we did it. So we started with using our Instant Pot. I grabbed 2 pounds of meat, ground beef, out of the freezer, and it's still frozen. I stuck it in there with the insert to kind of keep it up out of the water, because you've always got to have your cup of water. So I have that in there. I set the vent to sealing and put it on manual pressure and did it for 20 minutes. So while that comes up to pressure, I just go ahead and kind of get all the other parts prepped, starting with chopping up 2 onions. Next, I'm going to put in 2 blocks of cream cheese, and I'm using the reduced fat, like the third less fat or whatever it is. Cream cheese plus 16-ounce container of sour cream. Also, I'm using the light here, but you can use the full fat for both if you'd like. So basically, 2 packages of cream cheese and 16 ounces. So 16 ounces of each, cream cheese and sour cream. I could probably say that way better, but anyway. Then you throw in your Italian seasoning and some grated Parmesan. Now, the recipe for this will be down below in the description box. My mom the other day said, "Kristy, I don't know how to get to that description box you keep talking about." So in case you haven't found it yet, if you're on your phone, where the video title is on YouTube, there is a little gray arrow that points down. When you click that, it drops a box down that then gives you a little message from me. I always include either the written out recipe or the link to a recipe. If you're on your computer, it'll say show more, and you just click show more, and then same thing, the drop box shows up. So that cream cheese, sour cream, and Italian dressing just got all mixed up together. That's our creamy mixture. And then I'm showing you, I've got a pot of boiling water, added salt, and I'm putting in 2 16-ounce containers of rigatoni pasta. Now, what I'm doing on this night is I made one for our dinner on Saturday night and one for the freezer. Because whenever I'm making a big thing like this, it's just as easy for me to make up 2 9x13 containers as it is to make up 1. So I just go ahead and do the 2 and throw 1 in the freezer. And on a night I don't want to cook, or on a weekend, or maybe you're even going to have guests come in. And during this time, I don't know, I think we should think about how we could help our neighbors. And if so, somebody around you find out doesn't have a good stockpile of food and they're not going out, or they can't go out because of their age, maybe help take them dinner. So just something to think about. But here I'm just in my Instapot. I've switched over to saute, got that meat out, and it's not fully cooked, but now it's thawed and pretty much cooked. And I threw in my olive oil, my onions, some Italian dressing, Italian seasoning, and then my blocks of meat. And then I just take my food chopper and just give them a good chop, and they'll finish cooking up. but also I can just get into them now. And that's one of the things I know I've told y'all before I love about an Instant Pot, because you can put frozen meat in there, and 25 minutes later, you've got meat that you can actually grind up now. So then I'm going to add the stuff that's going to make it sauce. So I'm using 4 28-ounce cans of tomato puree, or you could use crushed tomatoes. Now you can always just, with this recipe of mock lasagna, just use some cans of tomato sauce that are already seasoned. You would just add onions or garlic, your meat, whatever you wanted to it, and not have to do it kind of this from scratch thing I'm doing. But it works either way. So you're just going to get all that in the pot and kind of let it sit and simmer. And then we're going to start to assemble. You're also going to see me put in the salt, the red pepper flakes. Jeez, I'm having a hard time talking today. And some sugar. Whenever you use all those tomato-based things, you're going to need some sugar to help with that acidity. But if you were using store-bought sauce, they already have sugar added, so you wouldn't need that for them. So now it's time to assemble. So I've got my casserole dish sprayed, I've got my sauce out, my pasta's cooked, the creamy mixture, and then I have some Italian cheese blend, shredded, and some more Parmesan cheese. So now I'm just gonna layer all of this into my casserole dish. I'll do the first one that we're gonna eat that night, and then I'll put together the second one to throw in the freezer. So I just start with a good base of this meaty pasta sauce in the bottom. I think my little spoon there probably holds about a half of a cup, and I do about 4 or 5 spoonfuls. So a couple of cups of sauce down in the bottom if you want to have a measurement to go by. I just make sure the bottom's covered good. So then I will mix up my pasta and half of that creamy mixture. So again, if you didn't want to make double, you would just half this recipe that's going to be down below in the description box. Just half everything and throw together one casserole dish feeds like 8 to 10 people. It's like 8 to 10 servings. So if you are, just 2 of you living in the home and you don't need something so large, then you would, could just get those small little pans, like what is it, 8 by 8, and make this one recipe into 2 pans. So something to think about. Just make it work for your family and for how many people that you're going to be feeding. So I'm just topping it here with the cheese, the shredded cheese, and then some of the parm. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to repeat. I'm going to put on the sauce, the pasta mixture, the cheese, and you just keep going like that till it's ready to go into the oven. So now I will take this casserole dish and put it into the oven at 350 degrees. And because everything's already cooked, it'll only take about 25 minutes and dinner's going to be ready. So in the meantime, I'm showing you I'm just mixing up the next, and I have my aluminum foil pan there that has been sprayed, and this is going to be the one that I put into our freezer. So while you're watching me just put this together, I just wanted to share a little bit about us. We are a family of faith, and our faith in the Lord is where we turn for comfort, strength, and guidance. So I have some verses that I have been reading over, and I have them saved in my phone in the notes section that I'm able to pull up whenever I feel worried, uneasy. If I've been on Facebook or Instagram too much and I'm reading too many things that are scary. So I find that I have to lean on and rest in the Lord during these days. It's a time of unrest and just stuff that's scary, and we don't really know, and we don't know always what we can trust that we hear out there. So what I do know is that God, He does not change. And so I have verses I just wanted to share quickly with you. John 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." Psalm 46:1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." And 2 Corinthians 1:3 says, "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and God of all comfort." And my all-time favorite that I've been leaning on this one during everything we went through with my family and my sister and her sickness. This was one of my favorite verses that I would claim, and I'm definitely still claiming it now and during this time of trouble. And it's John 16:33 that says, "I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." And I just have to, in this time of my life, with grown children and parents who are older, and just the uncertainty of it all, and not knowing what the future holds, you just have to rely on your faith in the Lord. If you know Him and you have that assurance in Him, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, and you're not exactly sure exactly what I'm talking about, then feel free to contact me, to send me a message and find me on Facebook or on Instagram, and to just send me a private message and we can talk. I'd love to share with you more about my faith in the Lord and exactly how it's helping me and my family get through this time. So back to the recipe here, I am actually covering that pan with some cling wrap. I like to do that before I put the foil on, because anything with a lot of acid can kind of eat through aluminum foil. So I always put the lid on there and then mark it up with what it is. Mock Lasagna, I did it on the 14th of March, and then I also include the instructions. So whether or not I'm making it or one of the kids are making it at the house, or if we send it over to a friend or family's house, everybody knows what the instructions are on how to make it. It browns up so good. It looks delicious. It's creamy. It's yummy. We call it mock lasagna because it doesn't use ricotta cheese. So if you're a ricotta cheese fan, then this one might not be your favorite, but for my family, they love it just like this. So thank y'all for joining me, and take heart, my friends. Be smart, be safe, and thanks for watching.